Alright, I wanted to make this quick video about a little lesson about this guy. So, some people may know that he has this attack that I'm currently showing here. I'll put a little clip up on the video of the attack, how it looks in real time, but this is him frozen at the start of it. And during this attack, what you generally do is you jump and then he zooms past you. In that situation, you may sometimes experience that you kind of get stuck on him, and he kind of holds you in place and you hold him in place. Now, some people think that his entire body might be his collision or something, but you can see here that I can actually walk through his limbs, and I can also jump into him. I can jump through him. I can jump into his head. So all of this doesn't actually have a collision, but this yellow sphere you cannot move inside of, as you can see. And that is actually his entire collision box. Is this little orange... Oh, sorry, not the orange one, the yellow one. I haven't figured out what the orange one is, but as you can see, I can walk inside of it. So it's probably a little irrelevant to this. Okay, so what some people do is they do this, you know, they jump, and then he goes past you. Now, if you try and lock on and jump forward, you can see you'll actually get stuck on this. Now, often when he zooms past you, what'll happen is you'll kind of like brush off like this and he'll go past you anyway. But sometimes you can kind of get stuck up in him. Like, kind of like if I were to do this, and you'll die because he'll get stuck on you, and eventually the your iframes will run out and he will hit you. Because this has a massively wide hitbox, the attack, which this is not the hitbox on the attack, this is just his collision. I can show the hitbox on the attack as well in a little bit. I just want to talk a little bit more about the collision. So, what you shouldn't do is do this when he comes. Like, you shouldn't, like, maybe that's a little, it's probably pretty common sense these days that a forward locked on jump is a bad idea to do in many cases when you're trying to do something defensively, because it has the least iframes, and actually only has iframes against sweep type attacks. This one, it doesn't have any regular iframes. Now that doesn't really matter for this, but another thing is that you can see how little height it gives me. Like, you can't jump for shit. But if I turn the lock on off, I can actually jump entirely over him. Or through him, as you can see. It might depend a little bit on terrain. See, if I was down here, I probably can't. But that's kind of the beauty with locked off, is that you don't need to jump over him. You could jump like this, right? You could jump like this. But if you're locked on and you try and jump like this, or, you know, go at a slight angle, let me just get my controller, slight angle, then you're also getting a lower jump here, which is gonna leave you more prone to getting stuck on him, and also, you know, give you a little bit of a lower jump, so you can't as easily get out of his range of the actual damage hitbox. Yeah, okay, let me turn on the damage hitbox, and then I'll show that. So yeah, these are just like, I think he adds another bit to it when he goes a little further into his animation. We can actually look at that. Again, I don't think there's any like crazy thing to say here about this. Like, it's just that the hitbox lasts for a long time. I think his arm becomes part of the hitbox here. Yeah, and his head apparently. But either way, if you're jumping, you'll go past all of this. Also, yeah, when you get hit by an attack once, as you just saw, now you're immune to it, which is another interesting mechanic in this game. Right. Yeah, I think that was it. So to summarize, don't jump like this through him. it's a bad idea. You can phase through pretty much everything of him except his collision box, which you can't see right now, but it's essentially a square, or sorry, a sphere that is centered on where he is standing. You can imagine that he's like a ball walking around, and that's his collision box. And you can phase through all other parts of him. As you can see, I have it hidden right now and it's still there. You can see you can't walk through his legs. Now, interestingly, I do think there are some moments where you can walk through his legs, but that's an entirely different scenario, I imagine, where, yeah, maybe we'll look into that at some point. Oh yeah, okay. To actually finish my summarization, don't try and lockdown jump through him because it won't work. You can do a lockdown jump, but you probably shouldn't locked jump forward. Like, it would be like fine to go sideways, right? Or lockdown directly up would also maybe be okay, but the thing is that you can fall down and get caught as you're falling down, and because you're locked on, the game like, it's kind of weird, like, because I would just say lock off for this and then jump like either forwards or jump like this, or a very common one is to jump backwards. And you definitely don't want to lock on jump backwards, because look at this, look at how low this jump is. You're 100% gonna get caught on him. Unless he like misses you, which I guess if you can get like a very tight controller angle with going like this, like a very specific angle, then you might be fine. But since I'm a keyboard and mouse player mainly, I can only go like this. And yeah, this is definitely not ideal, and this would, I guess that would work, but it's kind of, I would rather just lock off and do this. By the way, it is entirely possible to still hit him with the mid-air attack. If you lock off, you just have to kind of aim it. As you can see there, I aimed it to the right, and here I didn't aim it, and here I aim it to the front. You just have to change your stick angle while you're mid-air, or your WASD, depending on what controls you use. Before I end the video, I actually want to give a few more examples of actually doing it, because as you can see, there is a little bit of a like discrepancy between what I said and what happens in reality. Like, when you're at mid-range, it's fine to jump back, as you see, because he somehow finds a space to get past you. But when you're, okay, let me show that a little bit better. When you're all up in his face, then it gets more dangerous. There, it wasn't an issue. Let me see if I can get even closer. Okay, there it almost happened. Okay, it didn't happen there, but you see, it's still kind of rare, and I said it would happen, but like, the point is just that, to say that you're not always gonna have the meme if you do this incorrectly, quote unquote. And in this case, by the way, the brighter yellow box, the brighter yellow sphere is the collision box. Maybe, let me try something. I'll turn on the player complete immunity, and then I'm gonna just try and block him. Yeah, it's kind of hard to block him. I guess you gotta be in just the right spot or something. Okay, there I did it a little bit. So yeah, you can actually block him. I think, say something like, okay, I think a little too much to the left there. But yeah, the point is you gotta be careful because you can block him. But also, it's not gonna happen the majority of the times. But if you want to be absolutely certain, then you should do a locked off jump, because then you actually have a decent chance to jump over him. In that case, I kind of brushed past him, but I think I want... Okay, so there I would have definitely jumped over it. And again, we're not trying to jump over his attack, we're trying to jump over his collision, because that's the thing you get stuck on, which is the main, like, thing you gotta worry about with this, because you're definitely gonna have enough iframes on your jump to live through the actual attack, because you have like a second or more of iframes on your jump from the sweep type attacks. Alright. Looking back at the footage I just showed, I can point out two additional things. One is that some of the hitboxes that you saw on screen were not related at all to the things I was talking about, and they will be marked here. And the second point is that it seems that at the mid-range, he is going so fast that it's safe to just kind of do whatever, because he can't get stuck on you because he moves past you so quickly. So if you did get stuck, he would just get unstuck in a matter of not very long. So in conclusion, to maximize safety against the big sweep, 1. Keep Demon's collision sphere in mind. 2. Remember that the player's collision can block the Demon's collision. 3. Be mindful of getting stuck when directly in his face. Don't jump into him at close range. And 4. Try to use the mid-range to prevent getting stuck. And 5. Use those directional locked off jumps for the maximum jump height.